And we are live. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my live stream. Hopefully, all the audio is good. I am here with Ian Austin, the founder and CEO of Pone Labs. Ian, hey, thank you for joining for the live stream.
Hey Tyler, great to be here, mate. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's an honor. And for all of you on chat, I know we're live right now, just so you all know, in 3 different platforms. You're welcome to join on whichever platform works best for you. We are live on LinkedIn, we are live on Twitch, and we are live on YouTube. I think we have almost, I think, over 100 people watching now across the 3 different platforms. So that is awesome. That is crazy. Thank you all for taking the time. If you guys can let me know as we are going, if anything sounds off, looks off about the audio, the video, let me know. I will try to fix it in real time. So far, everyone is saying the audio is perfect. Fantastic. And hey, y'all, before we dive into the interview, I do want to let you know, I shared this, we both shared it leading up to this. We are giving away one premium subscription to Pone Labs, which will also give you access to an incredible red team network that is going to be released soon called Thunderdome. So we'll talk about that as the interview goes on, but just know only those of you who are here for the live event will be eligible for that. I'll be sharing the information how to enter that giveaway towards the end of the stream. So you have to hang around with us, tune in, learn a lot of good stuff. But as we dive into things, Ian, let's begin just with the classic elevator question. You and I have met, we've had some good conversations, but let's pretend we had never met. Who is Ian Austin?
Good question. So, who am I? I'm someone who's just like I guess I describe myself as a lifelong learner, right? So, I just I just love learning. I love hacking into stuff and also defending. So, like I've had a few careers, I guess. I was a sysadmin, a penetration tester, but at the same time, I was like I was a sort of penetration tester that I had to then fix a lot of the issues that I found. So I was like an internal guy. Like I know Tyler, with you, you kind of do lots of engagements and you get to see loads of different environments, which is awesome. I only saw my one environment, but I kind of knew it pretty well. But yeah, so I'm kind of like I've always loved red team, blue team, and so that's I guess why Pwned Labs is kind of purple.
It's so cool. And I forgot one more thing. For those of you watching in the chat, I will take your questions as well. So if you have questions for Ian, drop them in the chat. I'm the only person here like monitoring the technology as well. So if I don't see your question right away, just post it a couple of times. I'll eventually see your question and we'll kind of jump back between those questions. But you mentioned that you were an internal pen tester. Although this has nothing to do with Pone Labs and cloud, at least right off the bat, I would
Yeah.
love to hear more about that because the people who generally watch my streams, they hear from me. And as you said, I work for clients. So I'm a security consultant. I don't do internal pen testing. So what was a day in the life of an internal pen tester? Those who might be interested in that route of pen testing, what did that actually look like on the day to day?
Is it's like I didn't start as an internal pen tester. Like I actually started as a sysadmin before like a lot of sysadmins became DevOps engineers or whatever. So and then really just gradually changed my role more so. Like I've always been involved in security and like sysadmins, especially in smaller companies, always had a lot of security responsibilities. But latterly, like in one of my more recent roles, like I say recent, like probably still 10 years ago, then I was like changed my role from being pure sysadmin to actually I was still doing some sysadmin stuff and building and some support as well. But shifted that focus increasingly towards security, which is like a passion I had, hacking by day, hacking by night. And it was great. I mean, it was really a job that I loved a lot. I got to speak with a lot of people throughout the company, got to speak with users, got to learn a lot about security, do research on the side as well. Um, and I loved, getting to know that one environment really well. And not only hacking into stuff, which is cool and awesome, but actually securing the environment, defending it. Like I got a lot of satisfaction from that. So yeah, I would definitely recommend being an internal pen tester, or even like I definitely recommend being a sysadmin. I mean that those skills give you so much like foundation, and like help desk give you so much experience and foundation for security.
Yeah, that is key, and I agree there. I think like we want to be careful not to gatekeep saying you have to do this before you become a pen tester.
True,
But what
true.
you're saying is it might be helpful, right? So I worked in
Absolutely.
IT support, and in IT support, you're working with clients, you're working with customers, you're getting good customer experience, but you're also seeing like what does it look like from the help desk. And I was an analyst on the blue team side before becoming a
Yeah,
pen tester. So I agree, like some of that experience, a lot of that experience, if not all of it, comes in handy when you're a pen tester, whether it's
definitely. And
internal or
like we
external.
say, Tyler, there's no one path into security, right? So you could be a developer, like, or I was speaking fairly recently, like a few weeks ago, with like a someone who was a physics teacher, and like they were just like they were super analytical and stuff, but they're kind of taking the OSCP, they're into security now. So yeah, totally agree.
So cool. And on that side of things, you mentioned you were a sysadmin. Security hacking was always kind of a hobby. Hacking by day, hacking by night is kind of what you talked about.
Yeah.
When did you first start this hacking journey? Like, what platforms were around? How did you learn? Did you have a home lab set up? Was Hack the Box around? I know for me, like it was old school
Yeah.
hackthisite.org way back in the day. What was it for
Yeah.
you that got you
It
really that
was
hands-on
also
experience with security?
hackthisite.org.
Was it Hack This
It
Site?
was the same. Yeah, yeah. So I was like in I just moved into London. I moved up. I kind of lived outside London, and it was like my first time in the city, and I kind of did like a flat share, and I was just sitting in my room, just like running Nmap scans and stuff like that. So yeah, it's cool. It was on hackthisite.org. That was like one of my first experiences, and then even as a junior sysadmin when I started like an IT technician in like my first proper job, then I was still really interested in security and like yeah, I've always been really interested, but I kind of more so became like a security administrator later in my career. So not only like looking after the security of stuff, but like more so looking after like maintaining the security suites and stuff like that, like the EDRs, the AV, whatever. But also, I was working for a financial company and they got hacked. They actually exposed a Juniper firewall in one of
Mhm.
their offices in Asia, and because of that, they got hacked, and that was like that brought it home just how real that was. So yeah,
Fascinating stuff. And let's talk about Pone Labs just so we can set the context. In your words, I'll describe it from my perspective. But I'd love to hear from you first. What
sure.
is PwnedLabs.io? What is this platform?
PwnedLabs.io is a place where people, whatever their background, whatever their skill level, can um, have fun, connect with others, and gain valuable skills that they can use in their career.
That's so good. So here would be my perspective on Pone Labs. Let me just share how I discovered it. I was on LinkedIn and someone I think tagged me in a post like here are cloud resources you can learn from, and they tagged I think my video walkthrough on TryHackMe's AWS pen testing path. So they tagged me and I was looking through the comments seeing are there any platforms I haven't heard of before, I haven't messed around with, and there's
Yeah.
PoneLabs.io, and I was like, okay, cool, let me check out Pone Labs. And I was blown away. I'm not gonna talk bad about any other companies, but I was trying other platforms for learning Azure pen testing in particular. But I was looking for like a try hack me or hack the box style platform, high quality, realistic scenarios, realistic attack paths in the cloud. And I couldn't find it unless I wanted to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars for some subscription in order to do that. On PoneLabs.io, for those of you who've never been there before, they have labs for GCP, Azure, and AWS, and it's kind of like that CTF style. For some of them, others are walkthroughs. But the cool thing about these labs is each lab, you can approach it, even says, is this CTF compatible or not? But either way, there's a full walkthrough on how to complete the lab. And here's the cool thing about Ian, your experience, maybe you can talk about this. Not only do you have the full attack walkthrough, but you have the full defending walkthrough, which I think is an aspect that many pen testers miss out on. We just think, okay, how do I break something? We don't ask the question, how do I
Exactly.
then fix what I break? So, from your perspective, why is it so important for a pen tester, even someone like me who works with external clients? I'm not a
Yeah.
sysadmin. Why is it so important for someone like me to have that knowledge of not only how do I break it, but how do I fix it?
Right, exactly. I mean, when you're a pen tester, right? I mean, it's amazing being able to do some exploit or perform some technique to to gain access to further your access in the environment. But then that's only like half the job done, right? You kind of need to work with the developers, you need to work with the blue team to kind of like fix the issues. And so if you can put yourself in the position where not only you know how to fix it, but what caused it in the code, or you know what mitigations blue teamers could implement, then you're like more valuable to the client and to your company.
Yeah, that is key. And hey, just want to give a shout out to everyone joining live. I just checked attendance again. Ian, we're at like over 150 people on the three different platforms. Now, I usually only get like 40 when I live stream at night. So apparently I need to start live streaming at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, at least my time. So once again, all of you who might just be joining, Ian is the founder and CEO of Pone Labs.io. I already saw people in the chat saying, hey, haven't heard of it, but I'm checking it out right now. So go check it out. It really is an incredible platform. I heard there's this YouTuber named Tyler Ramsbey who's recorded a bunch of walkthroughs of some of the labs. So if you want to get a taste for the labs, you can check out my YouTube channel. That is my main platform. But the other
Amazing.
unique thing, Ian, about I think Pone Labs is just the high level of quality that is there that isn't in some other platforms, especially newer platforms, just to be completely honest. And
Yeah.
looking at your background, you have a lot of background in this gamified hacking space. So you were one of the leads at Hack the Box with some innovation type stuff before founding Pone Labs. So do you mind just sharing with us real briefly, how did you get connected with Hack the Box on a staff level? And how did you then transition to founding your own company?
Yeah, so really good point. So hack the box, just to be clear, is like probably one of the best, some of the best times in my life has been with Hack the Box. Like I love the people there, love kind of what they're doing still, you know. I was just like anyone else. I was just like one of the people hacking into their machines. And I realized that I could kind of I realized that not only did I like learning by poning and hacking stuff, but I also learned really well by doing and creating those scenarios myself. And so I thought, well, actually, I enjoy this, and I feel like I made a lot of mistakes as a sysadmin that I should probably like share and like share like you know what the stuff that I did wrong, and started creating content for Hack the Box. Made a few machines, became a moderator, started doing the write-ups. You know, I kind of found my love really for sharing knowledge with the community, and that was amazing. And then yeah, went for dinner with the founders of Hack the Box, and kind of that just you know went from there really. For you know, I started the content team. What I loved was and what I really love is having the opportunity to do that again, but is like speaking with people in the community who just love to learn and love to hack, and actually kind of working with them and hiring a lot of those people for Hack the Box, who then became you know amazing content engineers for Hack the Box and making loads of cool stuff. And so kind of just really thankful that I get to, you know, the chance to speak to the community and really engage and kind of almost do that again, really. But you know, a large part of what I did in Hack the Box, I guess, was like focus on new products and stuff like the Sherlocks or Black Sky, which you know, Hack the Box is doing now, and it looks amazing. And I was kind of doing like a lot of I guess you call it like market analysis and stuff, like having a look at the opportunities that were out there. And as part of doing that, I realized that for cloud security in particular, there was like not too much going on with like on for individuals. Like there was a little bit of a gap, let's say, with like what individuals could maybe use. And so that's really, you know, what was really the driving force between, you know, for me setting up Pone Labs. Not just me, you know, my co-founders as well.
Yeah, that is so cool. And someone mentioned in the comment, wow, there's aren't that many resources at Pentest Cloud. There really aren't, not as individuals. I can say this as someone looking for it. So where I work at Rhino Security Labs, we developed something called CloudGo, which is AWS specific, allows you to spin up like standalone AWS scenarios. But even with that, you need to have an AWS account and configure it properly. Now, I do have video walkthroughs on how to set up CloudGo and do all that. But what Pone Labs does is it has all three platforms. And for those of you who have done Try Hack Me or Hack the Box, you can think back like on a Hack the Box machine. If you're doing machine, you click spawn machine, gives you an IP, gives you the entry point. Well, it's the same with Pone Labs. You just start the lab and everything is there. and functioning. Like I've noticed other platforms who try to get into this space, especially with the cloud, it's just buggy. Things don't work right. I think that in some ways that's the nature of the cloud. But my experience with Pone Labs, it has been really stable. Like each lab has worked really well, have had very little issues, and the very minor issues I've had, I ping Ian or the team, and it's like they're fixing it that day or the next day and getting it resolved. So seriously, Ian, you're doing an awesome job. Your team is doing an awesome job. And for those of you in chat, I'm just gonna say it again. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you check it out. But let's back up in your story. And you're at Hack the Box. You're helping with some of the cloud stuff, some of the box creation, some of the Sherlocks, and then you decided, okay, I want to start Pone Labs. How long has Pone Labs been around now?
So I guess like I officially started creating like this super really ugly prototype in like December 2022, but we actually started working on it properly like in anger like in March 23. And then yeah, kind of went live in September, and then started offering like premium subscriptions in December. Like just to be clear, even though we offer premium subscriptions, we have like over 40 hours worth of free labs and 30 free labs that we're going to keep on adding to. And we've got some really cool stuff like you'll see in the next month or two that's also going to add to that. And so I can't say too much now, but that's going to be that stuff we're really excited about. So yeah, I mean, like, thanks for your kind words, by the way. You know, it's been a crazy journey so far. It's been great, but the team that we have, like the very small team that we have, is just phenomenal, really.
That's so neat. I'm looking over the comments. People are saying they just signed up for it. So cool. Hopefully we get some new users on Pone Labs. Here's a question for
Yeah.
you. Let's say I'm not a pen tester. Let's say I'm a sysadmin. I do blue team side of things. Does Pone Labs have anything to offer me? And if so, what? What does it offer the blue team side?
Yeah, like we definitely are like or try to be purple, so we definitely want to have stuff for red and blue. If I'm honest with you, my skill set and the skill set of the team is more red focused. So we do have like a lot of we do have some really great blue content, and we're adding more. We're kind of the community that's starting to grow around Pone Labs. We've got some amazing experts and kind of industry, people with a lot of experience, and so we're working with a lot of people who just felt attracted to the project, who also, like me in my days with Hack the Box, just want to share knowledge with the community. So we do have some really great blue team stuff, but I would say for people like sysadmins who kind of are more interested down the blue team route, I'd say hang around like a few months. You'll see a lot more stuff.
And talking about a lot more stuff, we talked about this offline before jumping on stream, and something I know Pone Labs has been advertising about coming out soon. I don't know if there's an official release date. You can tell me if there is, but Thunderdome, which
Yeah.
sounds incredible. So here's what I know about it. Correct me on the details that I'm wrong. Thunderdome is going to be more of a red team cloud pen testing network. There are, I think, 9 flags, and you need to use AWS, GCP, and Azure in order to get each one of the flags. And it's not CTFE. It's very realistic, very looking at security misconfigurations as you pivot deeper into the network. Am I accurate? What am I missing? Tell us all about
You're
Thunderdome, at least what you're able to share.
you're totally accurate. You're totally accurate. That's absolutely right. And we it's like it really is just like an immersive, it's a bit like a game. Like you're actually immersed in this scenario and you're trying to hack your way through this company on a real engagement. It's kind of like got a like a meta thing to it as well. So you've got this storyline that is kind of sits on top of that, where um you're kind of helping to progress the story as you kind of work your way through the content, and at the same time you've got this like actual technical environment, which is like the company, and you're working your way through that. And yeah, there's like some pretty new stuff in there. I kind of I was researching one of the vectors, and I think I might have like um found a little bug in Azure. It's probably like a severity 0, but I found a little bug in Azure, and reported that to Microsoft. So we'll see. But I decided not to use that for a vector in case they patch it. But it's like I would say the first few flags are pretty easy going, and then there's like some I think each flag, I've tried to do it so each flag teaches you some good stuff, whatever it is. Some of the flags, you'll probably want to approach it maybe as part of a team because they're a little bit tricky, but it depends. Like, so the thing with Thunderdome is it's a CTF, but as soon as all flags are gone, you're free, people are free to do streams or what or write-ups or whatever. So it becomes this amazing, well, hopefully amazing free resource. Well, not free, but very affordable resource for people to learn multi-cloud security.
So let's talk about pricing, because here's what blew me away about Pone Labs. When I discovered it and I saw there was a premium subscription, I was like, okay, cool. It's probably like $300 a month that I have to get a business to pay for to even get access to it. And then I clicked it, and I may be wrong on this pricing. I think it's 20 USD dollars a month for a premium subscription. And with that premium subscription, you get access to all the upcoming labs that are coming out, and you get full access to Thunderdome. You don't need to pay anything additional to get access to
No, not for
Thunderdome. Is that
monthly,
all
but
accurate?
for the annual, yeah. So for the
Oh, for
month,
the annual. Got
yeah,
it.
for the $20 a month, you get access to the entire premium library, like and that's growing all the time, and you know, really we wanted to make sure that nobody, or as far as we can manage, nobody is really cut off from learning if they have the desire to, right? Which is why we have the 30 free labs, because even 20 bucks is like still, can be a lot of money sometimes. And so but yeah, if you want a premium subscription, 20 bucks a month seems pretty affordable. Thunderdome is actually included in the annual subscription, which is 200 a month. Sorry, 200 a year, excuse me.
200 a year. There we go. Not two, just to be
200 a
clear,
year.
200 a year, everyone. So you do the math. That's super affordable compared to like every other platform.
Yeah. Yeah, we wanted to make it really, really affordable and make sure there's no barrier to entry for that. So really the only barrier to entry is your own motivation, really.
That's so neat. And what Pone Labs does really well, which Hack the Box also does really well, is gamifying the learning experience. Now, when I was reading up on your background, you have a background in psychology, which
Yeah.
is interesting. So how does your background in psychology influence the design and development of the labs on Pone Labs?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I'd love to say that I took a really kind of research-based methodology and kind of did a lot of stuff. I'd be lying, right? I mean, the truth is I took psychology as a minor. I did my degree over like 7 years part-time. I actually I went to uni like years and years ago, like when I was like 18, 19, and studied English, dropped out, it wasn't for me. I did my degree part-time, which is IT and psychology, while I was working. And yeah, I've always been really interested in psychology. So there's like loads of aspects of this kind of gamified learning and like how to make learning fun, and that side of it, I'm like a bit of a psychology geek. Like I love stuff like that. Yeah.
That's cool. And one more for all of you in chat. I know we have a lot more people joining now again. Hey, I want to ask your question. So I see quite a few questions in the chat. I promise you I'll come back to them. But if you have questions for Ian or about Pone Labs or about cloud pen testing in general, drop those questions in the chat, and I promise you I will circle around and come back and answer them. Ian, one thing that you shared earlier, and I think is clearly seen in Pone Labs,
Yeah.
is you shared that you learned a lot doing labs yourself, whether it was Hack the Site way back in the day or doing Hack the Box on your own, doing write-ups, but
Yeah.
you learned even more making your own challenges, making your own boxes, making your own machines. Now, I agree, but I've only made a handful of machines so far, so I haven't made a whole bunch of them. But for those watching this who want to get into making a machine for Hack the Box or Try Hack Me, or actually, let me ask this question. I'm totally circling around here. Before I get to that question, Pone Labs, do you take like scenario submissions, cloud submissions? Can people submit like cloud pen testing type labs to the Pone Labs platform? What does that look like?
Yeah, great question. So, like similar to Hack the Box and I guess Try Hack Me. I'm not too sure about Try Hack Me, but for Hack the Box, like they accept community submissions for the CTFs. I think we have a pretty similar idea that you're absolutely right. Learning by doing and building is absolutely amazing. It's like a totally amazing way to learn. And so we'll definitely have like an outlet for people who kind of want to do that stuff and showcase it on Pwned Labs and get recognition for it as well and share knowledge with the community, then absolutely we want to do that. It's a little bit different, like making a machine like a virtual machine in like a whatever virtualization technology you use. It is kind of like great with the cloud. It's kind of like infrastructure as code, right?
Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
it's kind of learning a little bit of that stuff, which is honestly, I've pulled some all-nighters trying to get that to work, because I'm not like like I've had to learn everything along the way, I guess, because I wasn't like a total expert. But yeah, like infrastructure as code can be something that's really frustrating, but also incredibly rewarding once you get it. Like it's almost like a CTF challenge itself sometimes.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
you're spot on with that. And as far as the box creation process, I'm curious about how you approach it. So let's take the cloud aspect out of it. Let's talk about that standalone like boot to root machine. You
yeah.
spin up, let's say, an Ubuntu VM or a Windows VM. How do you figure out an attack path? Are you looking at like recent CVEs or recent research and then guiding the attack path around that? Just for someone who wants to dip their toes in it, do you have any like, here are some clear steps you should follow to create your first CTF machine?
Definitely. So if you've got some experience already, that will surely help you, right? Like in terms of like using, some of the mistakes that you did when you were, doing whatever, you can kind of use that. If you're someone who maybe doesn't have so much experience, then that there's nothing stopping you from creating it. Like there's a ton of research out there. New blogs get released all the time on interesting new vectors. Or if you do, want to do something that's a bit kind of more suitable for beginners, you could do like a CV box based on you know um even like the recent CV that you discovered. There could be like a web app on that, stealing, like a web app privask. So yeah, I would say to get started, just all you need to do is just like have curiosity, read a few blogs, try to implement some of the things yourself, and you'll get a great understanding of what caused the vulnerability, how to exploit it, and also how to fix it. It's like again, this purple team approach is definitely um like there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, I agree. And I learned so much on the couple of ones that I made. And even like the Go CMS CV that you're referring to, what was unique about that is I found it and then I patched it myself. Like I did a pull request to go and patch the CV I found. And
Perfect.
it's a lot, at least from my experience, maybe because I don't have experience fixing stuff, it's a lot harder to fix stuff than it is to break it. And so when you're forced to fix it, you get
Right.
some compassion for the developers on the other hand, who like, yeah, I submitted all these CVEs. Why aren't they patching it? Freaking try it yourself and see how hard it is to patch a CVE without breaking everything else in the process.
Exactly. And then try that in a production environment where you have like various things going wrong, and you've got the risk of yeah. So it's pretty yeah. It's really great though, kind of taking a purple team approach, whatever it is. It's like I'm sure there are folks out there who just love the kind of the hacking and purely on adversary simulation and stuff like that, and that's awesome too. Like everyone's got their own jam.
That's so good. All right. For those of you watching, I'm going to jump to your questions now. So these are probably going to be totally out of order and not in categories, but we'll throw them at Ian anyway. So Ian, the first question, looking over on YouTube, Christopher asked this question. What is Mr. Austin's favorite thing to pen test? Networks, web apps, or cloud?
Um, I'd probably say infrastructure and cloud. So like I really like infrastructure security and like servers, SQL servers, whatever. But cloud was always this kind of really interesting and new thing. But yeah, I'd say cloud and infrastructure.
Okay, cool. Another question for you from Leonardo. He said, why? So we answered this a little bit, but I think he's asking it from a different direction. Why create your own platform? What was the thing, or maybe the couple of things that made you say, I want to do my own thing? Like, is there a pivotal moment, pivotal conversation, pivotal book, pivotal podcast that you watched that really made you say, I'm gonna launch Pone Labs?
I guess I've always kind of it's kind of not one thing, I'd say. It's like when you're on a journey sometimes and you're just gradually heading towards something. And then, like, I guess if there was going to be a thing, it was just that I saw that, there's an opportunity for cloud security. I didn't feel at the time that I felt I could realize those ambitions within my existing company, and so I created a new one.
That's cool. All right, another question. This one from LinkedIn from Justin. He said, "Does Pone Labs plan on releasing cloud certifications in the future, blue team or red? So have you thought about certs? What does that look like?"
I mean, we've thought about it. I think honestly, like I'm I'm 50-50 on certs. Like I see that certs have a lot of benefit for people coming into the industry, but then something I don't like is that how people have to spend so much time trying to renew certs the whole time. And
Oh,
like,
I
so
agree.
I get it. Like it's kind of like a double-edged sword where we'll probably have to. But yeah, I think I'd say watch this space.
And for those who want to break into pen testing, let's talk a little more about certs because I know that's always a hot topic. Um, any certs that you recommend for those trying to break into pen testing? Any that come to mind?
Probably Security Plus is like a great starting point. Uh, um,
Totally put
maybe
you on the spot there,
maybe
but
TCM Security's one that like
yeah.
they kind of do quite a beginner friendly sort of thing, and it seems pretty affordable.
Yeah, and I'll do a plus one to TCM security. Of course, OSCP is often the
Yeah,
gold standard for HR, but my experience with TCM security is I learned so much more through going through TCM Security's academy there. I think they're like ethical hacking course than I have from almost anything else. And you can apply some of that knowledge to the cloud. If someone wants to do cloud pen testing, you still need good fundamentals in pen testing in general, and then you can kind of pivot over to the cloud with some of that knowledge. Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
look, yeah, anything else you'd add? Otherwise, I'll throw another question at you.
No, no, go ahead, man.
All right. Someone asked this. Now I can't. Oh, here it is. Abdullahi. I'm sure said your name incorrectly, so I apologize in advance. But they said I'm passionate to start penetration testing as a career. Do you think AI will change pen testing careers in the future? And if so, how?
Yeah, great question. So AI is going to change everything, right? But like I think you can use AI too much, whether it's pen testing or defending or content creation. But AI also like has the potential to make us do more quickly and to kind of learn faster, as long as we kind of take what the AI creates and actually learn from it and don't try and become too reliant on it, I guess. Yeah, I it's like almost everything is going to have an AI in it. So it's almost like more so the question isn't is AI going to change cybersecurity, but like is what we're going to be pen testing going to be largely AI based in the future, maybe, you
Yeah,
know?
that's a good call. All right, looking over another question coming from Twitch. I'm getting all the chats confused. So Gromit over on Twitch said, "Do you find one platform more difficult to initially hack than the other?" So I think he's talking about the three kings, AWS, Azure, GCP. Is one inherently more insecure than the rest from your experience?
I would say that they're all doing an amazing job. I would say I'm personally more familiar with AWS. I'm not going to call myself a fanboy for anyone in particular, but my personal familiarity is with AWS, but I'm getting pretty good at all three, to be honest. Now, just by learning and hacking through and creating stuff. So I would say that GCP is quite they kind of all have their strengths, which is kind of like why as a sysadmin or as a company, you probably want to go multi-cloud anyway, right? Because like
Mm,
maybe identity or you probably want to go Azure or GCP. With Microsoft accounts, you can create the user accounts, which means you can create quite weak passwords. With AWS, same, you can create quite weak passwords. For GCP, it's all kind of tied into Google and tied into like the Google workspace. So Honestly, I've actually found it a bit harder maybe hacking into GCP, but they all have their strengths and weaknesses.
Very interesting. Good. All right. I'll come back to questions again. I see more questions over on chat. I'm going to jump back to some of our main conversation. But once again, for those of you in the audience, keep asking your questions and I'll jump back over to your questions in just a moment. One thing, Ian, that's fascinating about your background, and hopefully I have this right. I think when I was looking at your LinkedIn is when I came up with this, but you have experience with NATO's locked shield exercise. So like you've worked
Yeah.
with NATO, which is incredible. I'm curious how that influences the way you approach cybersecurity and some of these pen testing scenarios.
I loved my experience with the green team there, and the whole kind of like you know NATO cyber defense exercise team is amazing. You've got some really super bright people working there. Went over to Estonia a few years ago as part of this, and kind of met some of those guys and girls, and took part in like the planning session, and then like the main cyber range execution. Like I would say in the whole world, like this is probably like the biggest cyber exercise in the world, right? It's like it's probably something that you can imagine how well funded and an exercise like that is. You've got SCADA, you've got critical infrastructure, you've got telephony, you've got injects. Like it's like a game. Like they inject like real world events that happen and stuff. It's like it's crazy. Yeah.
That is neat. And I see that a little bit in Pone Labs. So in Pone Labs, you have, I'm totally going off memory, but generally it begins with a scenario. Then
Yeah.
you have learning outcomes, and you have like, hey, here's the realistic attack path. Like this is what you would actually see in the real world, and this is what we're trying to emulate in this scenario. And that's what I think helps Pone Labs stand apart from other CTFs. Some CTFs are very CTF-y, is how I describe them. And I think
Yeah.
people new to CTFs don't understand this, but there's like very CTF-y CTFs. So what I mean by that is you get like some code that you have to run through CyberChef and like 15 different formulas to get
Yeah.
a secret string to then log in SSH on a machine. Like that's not real world.
Right.
But the other thing about CTFs is only usually one way to accomplish it. If you don't do it the exact way the author intended, you're not going to be able to get to the final flag. What I've noticed about Pone Labs, and I'm curious if this is intentional or just the nature of the cloud, but when I do the scenario, I then look at the official walkthrough, and I've done it differently, like almost every single time, but I still get to the final flag. So is that like intentional to have multiple ways to accomplish these scenarios, or is that just the nature of the beast when it comes to cloud pen testing?
I don't know, man. I think that's maybe on me. I mean, it sounds like you're a pen tester by day and by night. So I guess you'll naturally find other ways to do things. But I'd say generally, even in like with the machines I created for Hack the Box, I created like 20 or so. I'd say there wasn't a single one where you probably couldn't do it in some unintended way. So I'd probably say, that's just more like a hallmark of me, I guess. But yeah. I mean, also like with you can use PowerShell, you can use you can like use the Cli. Yeah, I'd be interested to like find out from you like the different way that you found. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it all depends on the scenario, and it's just interesting. That's one thing I've noticed about Pone Labs is you can do it in more than one way, which I really enjoy. The thing that frustrates me about CTFs compared to pen testing is on a CTF, if you find some technology or you're reading about a method, but it's not the exact way the author intended, it's just a rabbit hole. In a
Got
real
it.
pen test, that's good time spent. You're learning about new technology. You might be able to find a different way into the environment. In a real pen test, there's always multiple ways to accomplish usually the same goal, which
Absolutely.
most CTFs do not emulate very well. The Try Hack Me just released something called the Red Team Capstone that I think, well, I know this because I did it. There's multiple ways to do everything because that's the only other network I've seen where it allows you to do it more than one way. So kudos. If
Interesting.
you
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
realize it, I think that's awesome.
I've not played it, but I'm sure it's good.
All right, looking over uh at this. what are some upcoming labs? Are you able to share with us any brand new content that will be coming out? Not the specifics of the content, but I know on the Pone Labs, you have kind of guided walkthroughs, and there's also a tab for CTF, and there's a tab for enterprise type stuff. So can you share with us those three things? And do you have any new content coming out in those three different categories?
Yeah, so we've got loads coming out for each. On like the premium side for folks with like a monthly subscription, what you can look forward to, I guess, is some amazing blue team stuff coming with like investigating, more cloud specific technologies like Sentinel, um, IAM policy analyzer, but also like then third party, more like vendor specific things like security onion, elk stack and stuff like that. So there's going to be some really great stuff around that for blue teamers. On the red team side, um, there's also going to be like exploiting vendor apps and stuff like that. A lot more cloud security stuff. We're going to build out Azure and GCP at the moment. We've got like a lot of AWS stuff, but yeah, Azure and GCP, we're kind of in the process of building that up. I'm going to add a new GCP lab tomorrow for people that I'm super excited about. Um, and yeah, on the enterprise side as well, like we've got lots of things in development. And some of that is, like you say, enterprise stuff, and we've got some stuff that we hope to share like in the coming months for that, which will be really exciting. I can't say too much more about the
It's
enterprise stuff
classified.
just now, but on the kind of like on the individual side, we've got loads of really cool stuff that you maybe don't need a subscription for as well.
Okay, awesome. All right, for those of you in chat, we have, believe it or not, only like 10 minutes left. Time flies, right, when we have these conversations. For those of you in chat, I want to spend some time getting to your question. So if you haven't asked your question yet, drop it in the chat. I'm going to be looking at all three different platforms, seeing what questions we have. So here is one from Truls, if I'm saying your name right, over on LinkedIn. He or she said, curious to know what Ian thinks is the biggest missing piece of cybersecurity education right now, mostly for people trying to get into cybersecurity, but also for those in security trying to learn new stuff outside their job role. So, biggest missing piece of cybersecurity education from your perspective.
And thanks, Charles. Great question. Uh, kind of feel on the spot now. So, I would say in terms of cybersecurity education, there are two like really big pieces that are missing. One is, I guess, affordability.
Yeah.
And then the second part is having like real world hands-on gamified scenarios. Like I know Hack the Box have done amazing stuff with that, and other platforms as well have done amazing stuff. But I'd say generally, all too often, you kind of just get a PDF or something, and you just go through that, and it's just like a bit dry, like multiple choice questions, and it's
Yeah.
like things like that can be great for as an HR filter, but honestly, it's not going to teach you a hell of a lot, right?
Yep. That's good. Another question for you from my friend Lizzie over on LinkedIn. She said, can you ask Ian why he recommends Kali for the cloud engineer path? Some cloud pen test folks feel it doesn't offer as many cloud specific setups as easily as a distro a regular dev would use. So do you have a preference for Kali? Why do you recommend Kali for cloud pen
Um,
testing?
yeah, another great question. Thanks, Lizzie. I would say for me, it's just personal preference. Like I think that there's a lot of um, offensive tooling that is kind of like I think if you're a beginner getting into cloud, so firstly, like getting into cloud isn't necessarily such a beginner friendly like thing. You kind of need to know some foundations first, and some of those foundations include just like general cybersecurity. So I'd say for general cybersecurity, Kali is like a great choice. You've also got Para OS from Hack the Box, and Ubuntu. If you kind of whatever you want to use, you can use it. There's always a way. But yeah, I would say in the recent roadmap we released, we kind of suggested Ubuntu or Kali. I guess kind of the reasoning for Kali was just, you know, there'll be a lot of folks who kind of have a general understanding of security and know how to use Kali, and like Kali does a great job with making security quite accessible for people.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And just to add to that, when it comes to Linux, right, they're just distros. You can usually install the same tools regardless of it. So, like my work computer, I run Ubuntu like as the primary OS and Windows and Kali as VMs. On my personal computer, which I'm on now, I have Windows, I run Kali and another Windows as a VM. So that's the cool thing about
Yeah.
virtualization. I mean, pick your tool. It's probably less important the tool and just understanding the tools that you can install onto that and how to use those and the proper syntax for some of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. True. True.
Here's a question from YouTube. Christopher said this: what kind of timeline do you advise a newbie with a zero tech background to realistically anticipate between starting to actively learn and confidently apply for pen testing openings? Okay, I think what he's asking is this. I'm brand new to the field. All right, let's
Yeah.
say I'm studying for Security Plus. I'm brand new to security. How many years from now do you think I will be at a spot where I can confidently apply for pen testing roles? Does that question
I
make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great question because, like, I think a lot of people will be in the same position, whether they're just out of college or they're kind of just wanting to transition from another field into cybersecurity. And so I'd say, honestly, it comes down to how much time you're prepared to put in, I guess. Like if if you kind of do like a couple of hours a week while you're kind of doing your main career and you've got family as well, like it's still totally doable. The timeline just might be a bit longer. Like if you're prepared to kind of hack every day and night and kind of learn and kind of get to the top of the hack the box leaderboards, do Pone Labs, whatever platform it is you want to do. If you're starting out, probably you want to also look at try hack me. um, but if you're willing to put in the time and have a community of people around you, whatever community you decide to join, you'll find a way, hopefully, to get to where you want to go sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's a good word. And my own story, I think many of you probably know this, is I've only been in IT now for I think 3 years, maybe. I started in IT support level one, but what I did do is like exactly what you're talking about. This is like I don't have a life. This is all I do. I
Yeah.
I work, hang out with my kids, then I'm like back on here streaming Pone Labs to try hack me or hack the box and just demonstrating like here's what I'm learning. I'm already doing it. I might as well just live stream it and join people into this experience and get to meet people like Ian and have these kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
Okay, another question for you from over on YouTube. Someone said, is there any prerequisite knowledge to start in Pwn Labs courses? All right, so what do they need to know before they make that Pwn Labs account and do that first lab? We'll just say the breach in the cloud lab, because I know that's a free one and a fun one.
Yeah, yeah. I would say, and great question. I would say familiarity with like the command line is definitely going to help you. Like if you if you're kind of if you're kind of learning the command line and you're not very comfortable with the command line, um, maybe you want to play like over the wire, bandit, and a few games like that we can feel a bit more confident in the command line first. But apart from that, I kind of wanted to make it accessible to anyone who has that real foundational knowledge. So if I've done my job properly, then hopefully that's all you need. But always want feedback from folks. If you feel like some of the content is not accessible, let me know.
Yeah, that's so good. And the only other thing I would add is even if you're not new, because I do this myself, but let's take the Cloud Breach lab. It's one of the first labs. If you pull it up, it's free. You download some files from Discord. Really fun lab to work through. But the cool thing about Pwn Labs is it's not a full black box perspective. Like I think about Hack the Box, where you launch a machine and you just get an IP. Now they've kind of done some cool stuff with their guided mode and things like that.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was just an IP. That's your context. The cool thing about Pwn Labs is every lab has a full detailed walkthrough of how to complete it. And looking at a walkthrough does not mean you lost. You only
Mm.
lose if you don't learn something, right? So if you're working through
Exactly.
the Cloud
Exactly.
Breach lab, yeah, go ahead.
No,
Or
no,
just saying
no,
exactly okay.
no, no. You're sorry. I like. I'm totally with you. Like looking at walkthroughs is a legit way to learn.
Absolutely. And then when you do that, here's the key though, take notes, right? So if you're doing the Cloud Breach Lab and let's say you see the command in AWS, how do I list S3 buckets? take that in your notes when you're doing another S3 lab. You may not memorize the syntax of, AWS S3, LS, S3, because it's a stupid syntax. That's the thing I hate about cloud, is trying to remember the syntax for AWS, Azure, GCP. Like they're so confusing. But if you take notes, you can go to your notes, Control F, and find that syntax. Or here's where AI is key. If anyone watched me live stream, that's what I'm doing constantly. Like, yo, ChatGPT, how the heck do I list S3 buckets again, right? And that's the cool thing about AI, is having some of that syntax built into it.
Definitely, definitely, man. Yeah, and loads of great questions so far.
Yeah, so looking over at the questions, y'all, we are almost done. We're almost to the giveaway, and I'll show you guys how we're gonna do the giveaway in just a moment, or at least how we're gonna get it set up, and then when we'll announce the winners. But here's a good question that I'm actually curious about as well. Steve over on LinkedIn said, how many labs do you currently have? I don't know if you know that offhand. So that's the first question. The second one is, do you have scheduled deliveries? And he said, like, try Hack Me releases on Tuesdays and Fridays. I know Hack the Box releases a new season machine
Yeah.
on Saturdays. What does that look like for Pone Labs? Total number of labs and scheduled deliveries.
So we've got about 50 currently, but we've got a huge amount that's kind of waiting to kind of come on the platform, and not just labs, but a whole bunch of other stuff too. In terms of like you know regular deliveries, I'd want to be a bit better with that, I think. Honestly, I've just been like Thunderdome was kicking my butt a little bit, and so that's probably like affected the schedule a little bit. But yeah, I probably every week or two you should expect going forward a new lab.
Awesome. All right, exciting stuff. All right, y'all, we are going to talk about the giveaway now. First, Ian, thank you so much though for taking the time to hang out with us and to
My
share
pleasure.
from
It's,
your
it's been
background.
fun. Thanks a lot for the invite.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you one more opportunity to give us some closing words of wisdom at the very end. But here's the thing, y'all. I said that we were gonna do a giveaway, and you can thank Ian for this. When we first had the interview scheduled, I even announced it and everything. I was like, hey, I wonder if he'd be open to doing like a 3-month giveaway for a premium subscription. He's like, no, let's do an entire year and also give them access to Thunderdome. I'm like, sweet, it's your platform. Let's do it. That sounds good to me. So here's how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna drop a Google form in each chat. Let me drop it over on YouTube. I'm going to drop it on Twitch, and now I'm going to drop it on LinkedIn. So that Google form asks for two things: your Discord name and your email. And that information isn't going to be shared with anyone. I'm not even sending the whole thing to Ian. So you're not getting spam email from anyone. I'm only going to use that, the Discord username on there to select the winner. And here's what it will look like. The next time I'm on stream, which is it Monday? Yeah, it's Monday today. I'll probably be on stream tonight. So I actually plan on doing a Pone Labs lab tonight on stream. So at about 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, which if you're in a different time zone, which many of you are, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, doing my math on my hand, 5 hours from now, I will be on stream again on LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. And what I'll do is I'll take all those names, put this in a colored pinwheel online, and we'll just spin the wheel and we'll see who the winner is. And then I'll reach out to you via email and get you connected with Ian, and he'll hook you up with that 1-year premium subscription. So once again, I dropped that form in YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn. As soon as our interview is done, I'm locking the form. So you have like 2 or 3 minutes to fill out that form, and then I'm locking it. And whoever gets in there, that is who the winners, not the winners, the one winner will be selected from that total
Yeah.
group. Did I explain that right, Ian? Anything that seemed confusing there?
No, all good, all good.
All right, cool. You'll be announced tonight. I'll go on stream tonight. We'll announce the winner. And what I'll do is I'll reach out to you via email. So watch your email, because if you don't get back to me within like a week, I'm going to pick a new winner just so we can find someone for that premium subscription. So if you win, I'll announce you on stream tonight. I'll reach out to you via email. I'll get you connected with Ian, and he will hook you up with that 1-year-long premium subscription, including Thunderdome, just for taking the time to hang out with us. All right, Ian, we are at 2 minutes left until the top of the hour. Final words of wisdom that you would share with us, all of us who are on this journey of cybersecurity, pen testing, learning, growing. What's your final words of wisdom you would have for us?
Uh, I don't know. I just enjoy the journey. Like
Enjoy the journey.
don't like yeah, don't. I think that's the key thing, is like it doesn't matter where you are now, you're kind of only racing against yourself. And so like just enjoy the journey, from where you are now to where you're going, where you're going to be in the future, which could be like, way farther than you thought possible.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe someone's watching this as Pone Labs gets bigger and bigger. They'll hear about Pone Labs. Next thing you know, they'll be an employee at Pone Labs, right? In a couple of years as the team grows. And they heard about it through this crazy interview they stumbled across on LinkedIn when they were scrolling through their feed, like, oh, this looks cool. I'll throw it up on my second monitor. I'll listen. And then maybe we even became a primary monitor interview as they were listening to it. But hey, y'all. Thank you again, everyone, for taking the time to hang out. This is like one of the biggest interviews I've had as far as attendance goes. I think we maybe capped out at 160 people across the different platforms. So all of you, check out Pone Labs if you haven't. Register an account. Check out the free labs. And then I would also, I believe premium's worth it. So if you can afford it, get a premium lab. And hey, if you want to do the labs alongside someone, I live stream almost every night. And I do a mix of Pone Labs, Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, and would love to have you join me on this learning journey. So Ian, thank you again, all of you on stream. I'm going to sign off with you all on stream. Thank you for hanging out. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.
See you. Thanks a lot.